The main goal of the program is independence. That is our primary goal. Is peer support, self-determination, self-help, and equal access. We also purchase assistive devices, and those devices are geared toward individuals. So say, for instance, if you is eligible for a CCTV or an ORCAM, or just a handheld magnifier that would help with your independence. It's just based off of what your needs are. So when you should contact us? You should contact us if you are experiencing eye conditions such as macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, or retinitis pigmentosus. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some of the common eye conditions that most of our customers have. So where we serve, out of the 254 counties in Texas, there's only 16 OIB workers within the state of Texas. My home base is San Antonio, and I manage 20 counties. So I manage 19 counties outside of San Antonio. I go as far north as New Braunfels, as far west as Del Rio, as far southeast as Gonzales and a little bit beyond. But I manage all the surrounding counties. And that's where we serve. So why the OIB program was designed? It was designed to ensure older individuals who are visually impaired or blind have a sustainable quality of life, ensure that they are fully integrated in a society. So who we serve are 55 years or older. Our primary goal is independence. That is our primary goal. Where we serve the whole state of Texas, all 254 counties. And why the OIB program was designed. It was designed because the federal government realized that once a person became visually impaired and they were under 50, and when they became 55 and let's say, for instance, they retired, they didn't have any other services that could support them. So they designed this program to support those individuals who may not want to go back to work, but just want to live an independent and productive life. So are there any questions at this time?
Is there an income level? A minimum income?
Yes, ma'am. We do go by the federal poverty guidelines. And that person has to make 300 times what the federal poverty guidelines is. And it's also what they call a participation cost with those guidelines. So for an example, for a family of 2, and we only servicing the one person versus a married couple. So we only ask for the income of just the person we are serving. So if you're making $20,000 a year, well, then likely income-wise, you qualify for the program. The other 2 criteria is 55 years or older and have a visual impairment.
Does this include your assets or minus? Do you have to declare your assets?
No, we don't look at your asset. We do look at your income. And the income is just for the individual we are planning on serving, not the family as a whole. We go by the federal poverty guidelines. So say for instance, another example, if you're making $20,000 a year, okay, we all know that your take-home pay may not be $20,000 a year, but your overall income is $20,000 a year. We do take in consideration the bills that you would have to pay, the money that's coming out of your check. We say for instance, rent or mortgage, utilities, we minus that.
But you still have to pretty much be at a modest income level.
No, ma'am, you don't. Again, the income can be either $10 or, let's say for instance, it's $100,000. Out of that $100,000, they may have all types of bills that encompass majority of that income.
When you evaluate individuals for services, you know, it's not just strictly going off of this is your gross income or whatever it might be. You account for individual bills and that kind of stuff, and everything that would otherwise take away from that, to kind of see what kind of disposable money that they have. And if let's just say the person makes $100,000 but has $90,000 in medical bills, then you'd evaluate, says, hey, this person really only has 10,000, and so this person needs help. Is that an accurate characterization?
That's an accurate characterization. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think one of the concerns too is that it's that they evaluate, if they look at things more than just say your income. For example, if you've got would they look at, say, your CDs or your investment accounts or your savings account or those kind of things? So even if you make let's just say you make 30,000 a year, but you've got, say, 60,000 in a CD, would you include those kind of savings and other things as part of your determination?
We do, but most CDs are what most people, when they let us know that they have CDs account, they say, well, hey, that's money I don't touch. It's in there for X amount of years. I don't receive any residuals from it, not monthly or yearly, etc.
It's done by case.
Correct.
And you take into consideration each individual person's circumstances and situation that they have.
Correct. Eligibility criteria is 55 years old. That's the first and foremost. Second is have a visual impairment or be legally blind. The third criteria, we look at the income. And as you stated, it's driven by individual basis. So we don't look at the total household, because you may have your children back at home. You may have relatives staying with you. We don't look at that. Everything is done on an individual basis. And we try our best not to disqualify anyone from the program if they meet two criteria.
Do you have to mail copies of your income or your checking account, your savings? In other words, do you have to mail in a copy of your personal assets?
Where there's 4 different criteria that the federal government and the state of Texas requires us to obtain information from each individual. The first item that we need is a copy of a picture ID, a copy of your Social Security card, a copy of your Medicare or Medicaid or whichever medical insurance you have. It may be a private medical insurance. And lastly is a copy of your income. And we need all of these to verify your identity. So everyone has to present that. Just for the record, I want to let you guys know that I've been doing this job for about 4 years, and I have not had one single person that disqualified from the program based on their income.
Do you have to relocate? So, for example, you need living accommodation. If, for example, you want to relocate, do they give you that assistance to try to help you find living accommodations?
No, ma'am, we don't help with the moving accommodations. For my contact information, since most of the state workers are working from home, my work cell number is area code 380-5217. My work email is Rosalind, ROSALIND Livings, LIV as in Victor, INGS, at the @ symbol, twc.texas.gov, G-O-V. And if you know of anybody, you can always refer them to the program, even if they live any other parts of Texas. I can always refer them to my colleagues.
What are examples of what you provide?
Examples of items that we provide and purchase go from the extremely expensive, which is your CCTV with OCR, R cams, that's the handheld and the ones that are attached to your glasses, to the lowest, which is liquid leveler. That liquid leveler is the one that helps you not to spill any liquids when you're pouring. So, and everything in between. We also provide services through contracted entities with the state of Texas, such as orientation and mobility training, that's the white cane training, diabetes education, that's what a certified diabetes nurse, and also assistive technology training. That's training on or geared towards using either low vision software such as JAWS, Zoom Text, or Fusion.
Now, are these for independent living skills, or are these for vocational rehab that these services are available?
These fall under independent living skills, or IL is what we. And also, please keep in mind that these devices or services is individual driven. So say, for instance, if you want assistive technology training, assistive technology training has to have a basis or a baseline for it. So that means there's not a person who wants to learn how to use the computer. That is not what that assistive technology training for. That training is geared toward learning the software to still be able to utilize your computer. Yes, we do that through my colleagues, which are the vocational rehabilitation teachers, or VRT. What they would do is either via Zoom or in your home, they would train you on the various apps such as Be My Eyes or CNAI, et cetera, or help you if you didn't realize that your cell phone has accessibility features.
And how do you, we contact you to fill out an application to start the process of receiving these services?
Correct. First is to contact me, and what I do is put your information in to the rehabilitation, what we call vocational rehab works, into our system. The next thing would take place is I would set up an appointment to conduct what we call an application assessment. That's when we go more in depth and in detail as to see what your needs are and let you know how we can best support those needs.
And then does TWC actually do the training, or do they contract it out to other entities?
All of the above. So say, for instance, if it's IL skills training and you need training to be safe in the kitchen, I conduct that training. If it's app training, I'll outsource it to my VRT, vocational rehabilitation teachers, colleagues. Or if it's orientation and mobility training, or O&M training, that's the white cane training, I will outsource that to the contractor who's contracted with the state of Texas and is certified as in orientation and mobility instructions. Same as diabetes. That's a certified nurse and contracted with the state of Texas.
So even though you're saying it's the VR or vocational rehab program, we don't necessarily at the age of 60 have to go out and look for a job. It's not technically what they used to call vocational, where you're going to look for a job to get any of this training. Am I correct?
That's correct, because I think what most people know this program as, it was formerly DARS, D-A-R-S. And about, say, 6 or 7 years ago, they moved this program under the Texas Workforce Commission. And under the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, we fall under the Vocational Rehabilitation Training. So that kind of throws people off because they think we're trying to put them back to work, when our sole goal is to help you remain independent in your home.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a question. So you have the training for a lot of the equipment. Do you provide that equipment, or does the individual have to already own the equipment and you just help with the training?
We do both. So if you already own the equipment, let's say, for instance, I have been into some homes where they purchase a CCTV at the flea market, and they just need training in how to use it. So I can do that. I can give them what we call orientation to the equipment, so to give them the basic knowledge to be able to operate that device. We also purchase the equipment for them through a company that's contracted with the state of Texas and locally called Crystal Vision. Most of our aids or assistive devices we purchase from independent living aids. That does answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
And also to add to that, Crystal Vision, that contract with the state of Texas, they will go out to your home free of charge and train you how to use those particular devices that we purchase from them as well. But with all that training, I also want to add, with all that training, due to the virus or the COVID-19 safety guidelines that the state of Texas implemented, we are doing what we call workarounds, because initially, prior to the pandemic, we were going into the homes and doing all type of training. So we have to do the training now on a case-by-case basis, and it almost has to be like an emergency, because the Texas want to keep their workers safe. Same goes with the outsourcing of the orientation and mobility. They will still come to your home to teach the white cane training, but the assistive technology training will probably be done via Zoom or FaceTime. So we do have some workarounds just to make sure everyone is safe. Any other questions?
I would like to say that, Rosalind, you helped me a couple years ago, and I'm not in the poverty level. You assisted me. I was very helpful for me. I thought you did a very thorough interview to begin with, to find out what resources I knew about, what resources were available in the community, and find out what might be helpful to me. And I appreciated that. So I think that people need to simply be willing to contact you and not be so afraid of, oh, they won't qualify. Also, I thank you for coming to speak to this group. And do you go to other groups to speak?
I do. I travel within the 20 counties. I speak to various groups regarding the program. And I also do community, other community outreach, where I would have a table and different platforms just to give them a demonstration or give them an illustration of devices that we can purchase, and may talk to them one-on-one basis about the program.
Do you provide readers?
Prism readers?
Yes.
We provide those through the Low Vision Clinic, the San Antonio Low Vision Clinic on Huebner. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I look forward to helping each and every one of you. Hopefully you'll give me a call or even refer someone to this great program called the Older Individuals